Ryan Carter sat in the dimly lit corner of a bustling spaceport bar, stirring his drink with little interest. It had been a long time since his last good job. Being a human mercenary in a galaxy ruled by advanced alien species wasn't easy. Most high-paying jobs went to stronger, faster, or more technologically enhanced species. Humans were often overlooked, seen as weak or unremarkable. But Ryan had one thing that set him apart: his instincts. Tonight, he had a feeling something was about to change. A tall alien approached his table. She was Scifi, a species known for their elegant features and smooth silver-blue skin. Her large violet eyes studied him carefully before she spoke. "Ryan Carter?" she asked in a soft but commanding voice. Ryan nodded. "Depends on who's asking." The Scifi woman sat down, sliding a small holo device across the table. The screen lit up, showing images of two identical female Scifi, their expressions serious. "My name is Leora Vex. I represent the Scifi High Council. We need a bodyguard for Velia and Sari Scifi, the twin daughters of a powerful diplomat. There have been threats on their lives." Ryan glanced at the images. The twins were young by Scifi standards, barely into adulthood. Their bright silver-blue skin and symmetrical features made them look nearly identical, but their eyes were different. One had a calm, calculating gaze, while the other held a playful spark. "I assume you've got your own security forces," Ryan said, leaning back in his chair. Leora nodded. "Yes, but we need someone unpredictable, someone who doesn't think like the enemy." Ryan smirked. "You mean someone like a human?" She didn't deny it. Instead, she continued, "The job requires full commitment. You won't just protect them. You will live with them, travel with them, and ensure their safety at all times." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Live with them?" Leora leaned forward, her voice lowering. "Their enemies are skilled. There have been 3 assassination attempts in the last month. We believe someone within our own government is involved. The safest place for them is under constant protection, and the best way to do that is for you to stay close at all times." Ryan exhaled slowly. He had taken difficult jobs before, but this was something else. Sharing living space with 2 alien princesses while keeping them alive. It sounded more like a nightmare than a mission. "What's the pay?" he asked, keeping his tone neutral. Leora smirked. "Enough to buy your own ship, a crew, and a future of your choosing." Ryan whistled. That was more than he had ever been offered for a single contract. It also meant the job was more dangerous than she was admitting. "All right," he said after a moment. "I'll do it." Leora nodded, then tapped her holo device. A small drone floated toward them and scanned Ryan's face, confirming his identity. "You leave in 1 hour," she said. "A ship is waiting to take you to the Scifi Prime Station, where the twins reside." Ryan finished his drink and stood up. Something in his gut told him he was walking into a storm, but he had always been the kind of man to walk toward danger rather than away from it. An hour later, aboard the transport ship, Ryan sat in the passenger cabin, arms crossed as the ship drifted through hyperspace. The AI pilot announced their arrival was minutes away. As soon as they exited hyperspace, Scifi Prime Station came into view. It was massive, a floating city in the void, covered in glowing spires and shielded by energy barriers. The ship docked, and as Ryan stepped out, 2 figures were already waiting for him. The twin sisters. Velia stood with perfect posture, her hands clasped behind her back, her violet eyes studying him with quiet intensity. Sari, on the other hand, had her arms crossed, a playful smirk on her face as she tilted her head. "So," Sari said, her voice carrying a teasing tone, "this is our human." Velia shot her sister a look before turning to Ryan. "Welcome, Ryan Carter. I hope you are as capable as they say." Ryan gave them both a calm nod. "Let's find out." As he followed them into the station, he could already feel it. This was going to be the toughest job of his life. Ryan Carter followed Velia and Sari Xilari through the towering halls of Xilari Prime Station. The station was unlike anything he had seen before, walls pulsing with bioluminescent lights, corridors filled with floating displays, and Xilari citizens moving with a graceful, almost dance-like rhythm. It was beautiful, but also overwhelming. As they walked, Velia, the more serious of the twins, kept a steady pace ahead. Sari, however, slowed down, glancing back at Ryan with amusement. "You're staring, human," Sari said, her silver-blue skin glowing faintly under the station's light. Ryan smirked. "Can't help it. Your station looks like something out of a dream." Velia glanced at him. "This will be your home now. You should get used to it quickly." Ryan only nodded. He wasn't here to admire architecture. He was here to protect them. Inside the twins' living quarters, the doors slid open, revealing a large circular chamber with smooth, glass-like floors and a high ceiling covered in floating, glowing shades. A section of the room was separated by thin energy curtains, leading to their sleeping areas. Then Ryan saw only one bed. He frowned. "Wait a second. Where's my room?" Sari grinned. "You're looking at it." Ryan blinked. "No, I mean my room." Velia sighed. "Xilari don't separate living spaces. Our people believe in close bonds for safety and comfort." Ryan looked around. There was no second bed, no separate sleeping area, not even a small cot in the corner. They expected him to live in the same space as them. Sari smirked. "Are you afraid of sharing space with two harmless alien girls?" Ryan crossed his arms. "I wouldn't call you harmless, especially since people want you dead." Velia nodded. "Which is why you must stay close to us at all times." Ryan exhaled. He had taken strange jobs before, but this was a new level of unusual. Still, he had accepted the contract, and backing out now wasn't an option. "Fine," he said, "but if you snore, I'm sleeping in the hallway." Sari laughed, while Velia simply shook her head. First night on duty. Ryan stayed alert as the station settled into its nightly routine. The Xilari's sleep cycle was slightly different from humans, but eventually, the sisters went to bed. He set up a small perimeter, checking every possible entrance to their quarters. It didn't take long for the first problem to appear. Ryan turned around and saw Sari standing right next to him. Too close. Do you need something?" he asked, stepping back slightly. Sari tilted her head. "You're acting weird." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "I'm just standing guard." Sari shook her head. "No, I mean the distance. Xilari don't keep space between people they trust. It's a sign of disrespect." Ryan sighed. "Humans like personal space." Sari crossed her arms. "Then you're going to have a hard time here." Before Ryan could respond, Velia's voice came from across the room. "Sorry, leave him alone." Sari rolled her eyes but obeyed, returning to her bed. Ryan shook his head. "This is going to be a long job." Morning trouble. Ryan was up early, running diagnostics on the security system when a sudden alarm blared. His instincts kicked in, and he grabbed his weapon. Velia and Sari rushed to his side. "What's happening?" Velia asked. Before he could answer, the lights flickered, and the security screen flashed red. Someone had breached the station's inner defenses. Ryan's muscles tensed. "Stay behind me." The doors suddenly hissed open, and 3 Xilari guards rushed in. "The security perimeter has been breached," one of them announced. Ryan's mind worked fast. Was this an internal threat, a distraction, or a real danger? "Stay inside," Ryan ordered the twins. Then he turned to the guards. "Where's the breach?" "Outer docking bay," one of the guards answered. "Unidentified ship forced entry, then vanished from our sensors." Ryan narrowed his eyes. That wasn't a normal attack. That was a test. Someone was probing their defenses, trying to see how fast they would react. He turned to Velia and Sari. "From now on, you don't go anywhere without me." Not even for a second. Velia nodded, understanding the seriousness of the situation. Sorry, for once, didn't argue. Ryan checked his weapon. Whoever was after them wasn't done yet, and he would be ready. Ryan Carter tightened his grip on his weapon as he scanned the security feed. The unidentified ship that breached the station had vanished like a ghost. No docking records, no heat signatures. It was as if it had never been there. Velia stood beside him, her usual calm demeanor showing the first signs of unease. "This isn't normal," she murmured. Sari, however, looked more annoyed than afraid. "Someone is testing us. They know we have a new bodyguard, and they want to see what he can do." Ryan didn't respond immediately. His instincts told him this was more than just a simple probe. Someone had gotten inside the station, but why hadn't they attacked yet? He turned to the twins. "You two are staying here until I say otherwise. No arguments." Sari smirked. "That sounded like an order, human." Ryan didn't blink. That's because it was. For once, she didn't argue. The silent intruder. Ryan left their quarters, moving through the dimly lit corridors of the station. He had locked the twins inside with extra security measures, but he still didn't like leaving them alone. The auxiliary guards were on high alert, patrolling the station, but something felt off. As he passed through a maintenance tunnel, he heard it, the faintest sound of movement. Ryan stopped. He turned off his footsteps enhancer to silence his movements, then slowly approached. A dark figure slipped through a side passage, barely visible. They were fast, too fast for an ordinary auxiliary. Ryan's muscles tensed. Someone is inside. He followed, staying low, keeping to the shadows. Whoever this was, they knew the station well. They moved with practiced precision, avoiding security cameras and patrol routes. But Ryan had spent years in high-risk operations. He had seen this kind of movement before. An assassin. A sudden face-off. Ryan waited for the right moment, then struck fast. He lunged, grabbing the intruder by the wrist before they could react. A flash of blue skin, glowing eyes. Another auxiliary. But their features were hidden under a dark hood. The intruder twisted, breaking free with inhuman strength. Ryan barely dodged a sharp blade aimed at his ribs. This wasn't just any assassin. They were trained. Ryan raised his weapon. But before he could fire, the intruder disappeared into the darkness. Damn it. He activated his comms link. "Security, we have an intruder in section C-17. Lock down the lower levels." But before security could respond, the station's lights flickered and died. A deep mechanical hum filled the air. The power had been cut. Twins in danger. Rand's blood turned cold. He had left Velia and Sari alone in their quarters, if the intruder was after them. He sprinted back, moving faster than he ever had before. The emergency backup lights flickered on, casting the station in a dim red glow. He reached the twins' quarters and slammed the emergency override panel. The doors hissed open, and his stomach clenched. The room was empty. Velia and Suri were gone. A race against time. Ryan forced himself to stay calm. Panicking wouldn't help them. His eyes swept the room. No signs of struggle. That meant the twins hadn't been taken by force. They had left willingly. His communicator crackled to life. "Ryan," Velia's voice came through, steady but urgent. "We're safe for now, but we couldn't stay there. We think the intruder is after us." Ryan exhaled sharply. "Where are you?" Sari's voice cut in. "In the maintenance tunnels. And we're not alone." Ryan's grip tightened. "Who's with you?" Before she could answer, blaster fire echoed through the comms. Then silence. Ryan cursed under his breath and took off running. He wasn't going to let anything happen to Themrian. Ran through the dimly lit corridors, his heart pounding. The last thing he heard from the twins was blaster fire, then silence. He gritted his teeth. They're alive. They have to be. The maintenance tunnels were like a maze, narrow, dark, and filled with twisting paths. If the twins were in trouble, he had to reach them fast. The hidden pursuer. Velia pressed her back against the cold metal wall, gripping her small defense pistol tightly. Beside her, Sari held a blade, her sharp golden eyes scanning the tunnel ahead. They weren't alone. They had heard the intruder behind them. Silent footsteps, a shadow moving through the vents. Whoever it was, they were hunting them. Sari whispered, "Ryan, better hurry." Velia nodded, keeping her voice low. "We don't have much time." Ryan's arrival. Ryan moved without hesitation, his combat instincts guiding him. He followed the faint sound of movement, his weapon raised. Then he saw it, a flash of blue light down the corridor. Blaster fire. He sprinted forward, rounding a corner just in time to see the intruder attacking the twins. A tall, masked auxiliary assassin lunged at Velia, their blade aimed at her throat. Ryan didn't think, he acted. With a sharp motion, he fired his pulse weapon. The blue energy bolt struck the assassin's arm, making them stumble back. "Ryan," Velia gasped. The assassin turned toward him. For a moment, their glowing eyes locked. Then they vanished into the shadows again, moving impossibly fast. Ryan cursed. "Are you two okay?" Sari sheathed her blade, frowning. "We were handling it." Velia, still catching her breath, shot her sister a look. "We almost died." Ryan shook his head. "We're not safe yet. That assassin isn't running. They're waiting." Sari narrowed her eyes. Waiting for what? The answer came immediately. The tunnel lights flickered off, plunging them into darkness. A dangerous trap. A metallic hissing sound echoed through the tunnel. Ryan recognized it instantly. Gas. "They're trying to smoke us out," he growled. "We need to move." Velia pulled up a holomap of the tunnels. "There's an access ladder about 30 meters ahead. It leads back to the main station." Ryan nodded. "Then we run." The three of them took off, their footsteps pounding against the metal floor. Behind them, the hissing grew louder. The gas was spreading fast. Then, movement. The assassin struck from the shadows. Close combat. Ryan barely had time to react before the intruder lunged. The assassin's blade slashed toward his side, but Ryan twisted, just avoiding it. He countered with a punch, his fist slamming into the attacker's ribs. The assassin stumbled but recovered instantly, spinning toward Velia. Sari blocked the attack, her blade clashing against the assassin's weapon. Sparks flew as they fought in close quarters. Ryan fired his weapon again, but the assassin dodged, moving like a shadow in the mist. They were fast. Too fast. Escape to the station. Velia reached the ladder first. "Come on." Ryan covered their retreat, firing suppressive shots as the twins climbed up. Sari was the last to go, leaping onto the ladder just as the assassin struck again. Ryan blocked the attack, forcing the assassin back. He grabbed the ladder and pulled himself up as fast as he could. The assassin didn't follow. Instead, they vanished into the smoke, watching, waiting. Ryan's gut told him this wasn't over. Back to safety. For now. The hatch slammed shut as they reached the main station. Ryan locked it behind them, sealing the tunnel. The twins caught their breath. Velia looked at him. That assassin. They weren't trying to kill us immediately. Ryan nodded, his expression grim. They were testing us. Sari crossed her arms. Well, they know what we can do now. Ryan wasn't so sure. This was only the beginning. Ryan sat against the cold metal wall of the security room, catching his breath. The escape from the maintenance tunnels had been too close. The assassin was still out there, watching, waiting. Velia was busy checking the station's internal security cameras, trying to find any trace of their attacker. Sari, however, stood near the door, her arms crossed. She wasn't one to sit and wait. This isn't over, Sari muttered. That assassin wasn't just testing us. They were gathering information. Ryan nodded, adjusting the energy pack on his weapon, which means they'll strike again. We need to be ready. Velia's golden eyes flickered with worry. I've locked the station down. No one is getting in or out without triggering an alarm. Ryan sighed. Good. But something tells me this assassin won't just walk through the front door. A new lead. Velia suddenly froze, her fingers hovering over the screen. What is it? Ryan asked, standing up. Velia tapped the monitor. I found them. The security feed showed a dark figure standing perfectly still in a shadowed corner of the cargo bay. It was the assassin, waiting. Ryan narrowed his eyes. They're not trying to escape. Velia shook her head. No, they're doing something with the station's controls. Sari clenched her fists. We need to stop them. Ryan was already moving. Let's go. Ambush in the cargo bay. The cargo bay was massive, filled with stacked crates and supply containers. The overhead lights flickered slightly, casting long shadows. Ryan led the way, his weapon raised, scanning every corner. The twins moved beside him, silent and ready. Then, a sound. A faint mechanical beeping came from behind a stack of crates. Ryan signaled for the twins to stay back as he approached. He slowly rounded the corner, and his stomach dropped. A small explosive device was attached to the station's power core controls. A timer blinked on its surface, counting down. 0:59, 0:58, 0:57. Sari cursed. They're trying to destroy the station. Velia paled. If that bomb goes off, the entire command center will shut down. We'll be stranded here, defenseless. Ryan didn't hesitate. Velia, can you disarm it? Velia knelt beside the device, scanning it with her wrist terminal. I can try, but I need time. Sari growled. And the assassin won't give us that. Ryan tightened his grip on his weapon. Then we hold them off. The assassin strikes. A sudden crackling sound echoed through the cargo bay. Ryan turned just in time to see a dark figure drop from the ceiling. The assassin. They moved fast, their blade flashing toward Sari. She blocked the attack, barely deflecting the strike. Sparks flew as metal met metal. The assassin pressed forward, forcing her back. Ryan fired his weapon, but the assassin dodged, leaping behind a crate. They're trying to stall us, Sari shouted. Velia's voice was tense. Then keep them busy. I almost have the bomb deactivated. Ryan gritted his teeth. Easier said than done. Close combat. The assassin lunged at Ryan this time. Ryan barely dodged in time, feeling the sharp edge of the blade graze his jacket. He swung his weapon like a club, forcing the attacker back. Sari moved in from the side, aiming for the assassin's legs. But the assassin anticipated it, twisting away and delivering a brutal kick to Sari's stomach. She stumbled back, coughing. Ryan seized the opening, slamming his fist into the assassin's side. The impact made them stagger, but only for a second. The assassin's mask tilted toward him, their glowing eyes unreadable. Then they vanished into the shadows again. Ryan cursed. They're fast. Sari wiped her mouth. So are we. Seconds left. Almost there. Velia called out. Just a few more seconds. Ryan and Sari took defensive positions, scanning the area. The assassin was still there, watching, waiting for the right moment. Ryan felt it, a presence just behind him. He spun around just as the assassin attacked. Their blades slashed toward his chest. Ryan barely managed to dodge, the tip of the weapon slicing through his sleeve. Sari tackled the assassin, knocking them off balance. The two tumbled across the floor, locked in combat. Velia let out a triumphant shout. Got it. The bomb's timer froze at 03 seconds. Ryan exhaled in relief. Nice work. But Sari wasn't done yet. She had the assassin pinned, her blade against their shoulder joint. Who sent you? She demanded. The assassin didn't answer. Instead, they pressed a hidden switch on their wrist. A hissing noise filled the air. Ryan realized what was happening too late. Sari, move. A small flash bomb exploded between them, blinding everyone for a split second. When the light faded, the assassin was gone. Aftermath. Sari cursed. They escaped again. Velia sighed, rubbing her temples. At least we stopped the bomb. Ryan wasn't convinced. He stared at the spot where the assassin had vanished. This wasn't just an assassination attempt, he muttered. They were testing us, studying how we fight. Velia frowned. Why? Ryan's jaw clenched. Because they're planning something bigger. The thought sent a chill down his spine. This was far from over. Ryan sat on a crate in the cargo bay, staring at the spot where the assassin had vanished. His heartbeat was finally slowing, but his mind refused to rest. They could have killed us, Sari muttered, pacing nearby. But they didn't. They had plenty of chances. Velia was already typing on her wrist terminal, her golden eyes filled with concern. That means they need something from us. Ryan exhaled. Not just something. They're testing us, learning our weaknesses. That was no ordinary attack. It was a strategy test. Velia nodded. And now, they know how we react. Sari clenched her fists. Then we need to change the game before they strike again. Analyzing the clues. Back in the control room, Velia pulled up the security footage. They watched the assassin move silently and precisely, avoiding detection like a ghost. Ryan frowned. They're too skilled to be working alone. Velia paused the video. Exactly. And look here. She pointed at the assassin's gloves. These aren't standard weapons. They're using advanced stealth tech, the kind used by elite military forces. Ryan's stomach tightened. So this isn't just some rogue bounty hunter. We're dealing with someone connected to a bigger force. Sari slammed her fist on the console. We need answers, and I know where to get them. A dangerous plan. Sari led them to a restricted area of the station, deep inside a hidden communications room. Ryan raised an eyebrow. You didn't mention a secret comms room before. Sari smirked. Some things are need to know. Velia rolled her eyes and activated the system. A holographic screen appeared, displaying a long list of encrypted messages. This station receives private reports from high-ranking officials, Velia explained. If someone hired that assassin, there might be a trace of the order here. Ryan nodded. So, let's find out who wants you two dead. Velia worked fast, her fingers flying over the controls. Several messages appeared, all coded. Then, she found it. A high-priority transmission, recently deleted. Velia recovered it and played the message. A distorted voice spoke. The twins must be eliminated before the treaty is signed. The human is an obstacle. Neutralize if necessary. Silence filled the room. Ryan's jaw tightened. So this is political. Velia's hands trembled slightly. Someone doesn't want peace between our people. Sari growled. And they think killing us will stop it. Ryan crossed his arms. If they're willing to send an elite assassin, it means we're running out of time. We need to find out who's behind this before they send more. An unlikely source. Velia's fingers danced over the console again. I can trace where this message was sent from. A moment later, the screen flickered, revealing an unexpected location. Sari's eyes widened. That's from inside the station. Ryan narrowed his eyes. Someone here is working against you. Velia's hands tightened into fists. That means we can find them. Ryan grabbed his weapon. Then let's not waste time. Tracking the traitor. The security system pinpointed the sender's last location, a storage wing on the lower levels. Moving quickly, Ryan and the twins reached the area. The air was thick with tension as they checked each corridor. Then they heard footsteps. Ryan signaled for silence and crept forward. A tall figure in a cloak was working on a console near a supply crate. Velia scanned the individual with her wrist device. It's a station official. Sari's grip tightened on her weapon. Let's see what they know. Ryan moved fast, grabbing the official by the collar and pinning them against the crate. Who hired the assassin? Ryan's voice was low, dangerous. The official struggled, eyes darting in panic. I don't know what you're talking about. Sari stepped forward. Lying won't save you. Velia showed the holographic message. This came from your terminal. Start explaining. The official's face paled. I had no choice. They threatened my family. Ryan narrowed his eyes. Who are they? The official swallowed hard. A secret faction within the military. They don't want peace. They believe the treaty will make us weak. They hired the assassin to ensure it fails. Velia's face hardened. And you helped them. The official lowered their head. I didn't want to, but they forced me. They have more agents. You're all in danger. Ryan stepped back. How many? The official hesitated. Then, a sudden beep. Ryan's instincts screamed. Get down. A sniper shot rang out. The official collapsed. A hole burned through their chest. Analyzing the clues. Back in the control room, Velia pulled up the security footage. They watched the assassin move silently and precisely, avoiding detection like a ghost. Ryan frowned. They're too skilled to be working alone. Velia paused the video. Exactly. And look here. She pointed at the assassin's gloves. These aren't standard weapons. They're using advanced stealth tech, the kind used by elite military forces. Ryan's stomach tightened. So this isn't just some rogue bounty hunter. We're dealing with someone connected to a bigger force. Sari slammed her fist on the console. We need answers. And I know where to get them. A dangerous plan. Sari led them to a restricted area of the station, deep inside a hidden communications room. Ryan raised an eyebrow. You didn't mention a secret comms room before. Sari smirked. Some things are need to know. Velia rolled her eyes and activated the system. A holographic screen appeared, displaying a long list of encrypted messages. This station receives private reports from high-ranking officials, Velia explained. If someone hired that assassin, there might be a trace of the order here. Ryan nodded. So, let's find out who wants you two dead. Velia worked fast, her fingers flying over the controls. Several messages appeared, all coded. Then, she found it. A high-priority transmission, recently deleted. Velia recovered it and played the message. A distorted voice spoke. The twins must be eliminated before the treaty is signed. The human is an obstacle. Neutralize if necessary. Silence filled the room. Ryan's jaw tightened. So this is political. Velia's hands trembled slightly. Someone doesn't want peace between our people. Sari growled. And they think killing us will stop it. Ryan crossed his arms. If they're willing to send an elite assassin, it means we're running out of time. We need to find out who's behind this, before they send more. An unlikely source. Velia's fingers danced over the console again. I can trace where this message was sent from. A moment later, the screen flickered, revealing an unexpected location. Sari's eyes widened. That's from inside the station. Ryan narrowed his eyes. Someone here is working against you. Velia's hands tightened into fists. That means we can find them. Ryan grabbed his weapon. Then let's not waste time. Tracking the traitor. The security system pinpointed the sender's last location, a storage wing on the lower levels. Moving quickly, Ryan and the twins reached the area. The air was thick with tension as they checked each corridor. Then, they heard footsteps. Ryan signaled for silence and crept forward. A tall figure in a cloak was working on a console near a supply crate. Velia scanned the individual with her wrist device. It's a station official. Sari's grip tightened on her weapon. Let's see what they know. Ryan moved fast, grabbing the official by the collar and pinning them against the crate. Who hired the assassin? Ryan's voice was low, dangerous. The official struggled, eyes darting in panic. I don't know what you're talking about. Sari stepped forward. Lying won't save you. Velia showed the holographic message. This came from your terminal. Start explaining. The official's face paled. I had no choice. They threatened my family. Ryan narrowed his eyes. Who are they? The official swallowed hard. A secret faction within the military. They don't want peace. They believe the treaty will make us weak. They hired the assassin to ensure it fails. Velia's face hardened. And you helped them. The official lowered their head. I didn't want to, but they forced me. They have more agents. You're all in danger. Ryan stepped back. How many? The official hesitated. Then, a sudden beep. Ryan's instincts screamed. Get down. A sniper shot rang out. The official collapsed. A hole burned through their chest. Sari grinned. Did it work? Velia nodded. I shut down their communications and activated the station's defense shields. Their fleet can't get through now. Ryan exhaled in relief. Then it's over. The remaining officers, seeing their plan had failed, surrendered. Sari smirked. That's what happens when you mess with us. A new beginning. The next day, the peace treaty was officially signed. Ryan stood with Velia and Sari, watching as the leaders from both species shook hands. The war had been avoided. Velia smiled at Ryan. We couldn't have done this without you. Sari elbowed him playfully. Yeah, you're not bad. For a human. Ryan chuckled. Guess I'll take that as a compliment. Sari grinned. You should. And besides. She and Velia exchanged a look. You're stuck with us now. Ryan sighed dramatically. Great. Just what I needed. 2 troublemakers in my life. Velia laughed. You love it. Ryan smirked. Yeah, maybe I do.